Hey everyone, it's Ryan. Welcome back to my channel. This video might seem a little choppy, but I just wanted to give a few different ways that I've used to ice cakes. So, hope you enjoy. Um, so to start off with, when you have your bowl of icing, you really want to make sure that you sort of stir it down to get rid of any of the bubbles. If you have enough to fill up a stand mixer bowl, turn on your stand mixer on a low speed and let it go for a few minutes, and that will work out the bubbles in your icing. So you're going to take a pretty generous amount of icing and put it on the top of your cake. Go in pretty flat again and just sort of pushing toward the outside of your cake. Go around, smooth it out, and then keep what's on your spatula and just start working down your cake. And I would normally do this over here, but to show you, I'm trying to do it this way so you can see. And I'm sorry for all the shadows. I did not set up my light this morning. Okay, so you can see up here, there's some spots where it might need a little more. So we're just going to go back up to the top, smooth it out one more time, clean off your spatula. I'm going to go around the bottom because your spatula is curved, there's always a little bit of extra icing at the bottom. So I'm just going to put it perpendicular to the cake board and just smooth. Try to keep it pretty level as you're going around. Otherwise you will see lines, and I'm sure you can see them, but they are disappearing, as are the bubbles. Then you're done. Scrape off your spatula and go in down and flat all the way around your cake. And you will possibly see some bubbles forming up here on the top, and that is okay. We will do our best to get rid of those. If it doesn't get rid of them, I'll show you what we can do. So you can see there's more bubbles forming up here at the top. Don't freak out. Get a little bit of your icing that you scraped off. Go back over the top. Smooth it out. Go back to the side and just do a few rounds to get the side completely smooth again. And then go back to the top. Sometimes the icing is just, it doesn't want to work with you, and it gets frustrating, and sometimes you just have to learn to walk away and let it be what it is. If you needed to put a border on the top of the cake, I wouldn't really be too concerned with these little bubbles around the side. So I'm going to leave it like that. I think it looks fine. That would be perfectly acceptable to send out. All right, so another way that I have used to ice a cake, and again, this is just trying to get some of you comfortable with icing a cake and finding out what way works best for you, because not every single way works for every person. So I'm still starting off with my spatula, same approach to all of it. Going around, just getting the whole cake covered, but we are going to use a bench scraper. And sometimes with these smaller cakes, it is a little trickier to use a bench scraper because they're further in on your turntable. It's easier when you can sort of have it out here so that you don't have to have it sort of at an angle because this part is bumping on your turntable. So I just iced that with the spatula. Now I'm going to go in with my bench scraper and just take off some of the excess. Scrape that off. And now go back in and apply a little more pressure to take some more off. And I'll come over here so you can see what it looks like from this side. Okay. Scrape that off. And now I am going to use, you could use your bench scraper to go in. I have not had the greatest of luck doing that, so I am not going to do that for this. I'm going to do my spatula and just go in and get the top leveled off. And there you go. So some of you might find that to be a little easier. And unlike with your spatula where it does have the rounded bottom, so there is a lot of times a little, it's hard to describe, but there's a little bit of extra icing down there. Your bench scraper has a square edge, so there's not that little bit of extra icing down there. So now we're gonna scrape this off. And I'm going to show you this method that I'm about to show you is actually the first way that I learned to ice a cake at the first cake shop that I worked at. It was completely new to me, but I then used it at my own shop once I opened my little bakery. At that time, it did sort of require, you'll understand once you see, but I had a little, what do you call them? Little burner beside where I iced my cakes all the time. And had a pot of boiling water next to me all the time. Right now, I have, be careful, this is just an insulated cup and I put some water in my tea kettle. And so this is just a cup of boiling or just very hot tap water. So you'll see where I'm going to use that here in just a second. All of these start off the same, using a spatula to get your icing onto your cake. You don't ever want to not have icing on your spatula and touch the cake, because even though it is crumb coated, you could still pull off a little bit of that icing. And especially this one, since I've been keep doing this over and over, it is getting a little softer. So go back to the top, push a little harder to get a little bit more of that icing off. Scrape. We are going to go around once to get off too much extra. Scrape off your spatula well. Now you're going to dip in your hot water. And look at that. Took all that icing, well, almost all that icing off my spatula. So now, this is very hot. In this icing, we have sugar, butter, and shortening. All of those things get soft or melt when they get heat applied to them. So the heat is actually going to help smooth the cake. And you don't want your spatula like dripping with water. So take it on and go around and smooth. Scrape it off. Give it another dip. And because my spatula is still hot, I'm not going into the water every single time. You can feel it dragging, so now I'm going to dip it. Okay. We're just going in, and you can see this top is very shiny, and we actually created a lip here because it is so hot. So I'm just going to go around it one more time, get rid of that lip. Let me make sure you can see what's going on over here. Oh yeah, you've got it. Okay. And you could have, like, I always have a rag here to the side. So you could dip to get the extra water off, run it on your rag, and smooth. Once you feel it starting to drag, go back in your hot water. You can see here it happened again. So this is sort of the problem that I would have a lot, and I didn't necessarily know it was a problem because it was the only way I had learned at first. So this is sort of why I have stepped back or away from this method, because it is very hot and you're going on icing that is already ready to melt. But because the spatula is so hot, it just wants to melt and push down the icing. So there we go. This is going to be the cake that I'm going to decorate in a different video. The pumpkin video, if you're coming here from that, or if you're going from here to that video, check it out. And as usual, I would go around the bottom, actually start with the spatula and get off all of the extra icing. That away. And then go in with your rag and just clean up your edges. That's one thing that when I'm looking at, I do watch a lot of cake decorating videos on social media, and one thing that does really drive me insane is when there is still icing left on the cake board. It just makes it, whether you are a professional or not, it makes it look more professional when you clean up the cake. So there you go. Thanks for watching.